Tapriel and Conwar outline accessibility, speed, reach, interactivity, and longevity or volatility as some of the ways that social media has proven to be better than traditional media. Social media accessibility has been fueled by the increased use of mobile devices and the fact that most platforms do not charge their users, but largely make money from advertising. The speed of social media is related to its reach based on the fact that generated content is available to wide audiences across the world. The speed aspect of reach is based on viewership and responses gathered from audiences targeted by user-generated content. The high speed and reach has facilitated increased interactivity through the constant exchange of information. Multiple-way communication channels provided by social media ensure that many people are able to interact at any given time. The nature of social media to allow users to update and edit content promptly ensure that other users have constant access to information forever, hence the phrase, "The internet never forgets." Mukherjee classifies social media into social networking sites, blogs, content creation and sharing sites or content communities, and user appraisal sites. Social network sites allow people to build customizable online profiles and use them to create networks that facilitate interaction. The networks are built largely based on participants' interests, marital status, location, orientation, religion, political ideologies, social interests, and gender, among others. Popular networking sites launched in the recent past include MySpace and LinkedIn in 2003, Facebook in 2004, and Twitter in 2006. Blogs refer to online journals where individuals or groups record their beliefs, thoughts, and activities. Popular blogging sites include WordPress, Blogspot, and Blogger. Microblogging sites, such as Twitter, are perceived to provide more real-time information because of the limited number of characters. Content creation and sharing sites facilitate the exchange of various forms of multimedia, including pictures, videos, and audio files. Some of the popular content generation and sharing sites include Instagram and Flickr for photos, YouTube for videos, and SlideShare for sharing slides. User appraisal sites allow customers to share their experiences with various products to inform other users' purchasing decisions. Pagel and MythShut are the most common sites that inform customer decision-making processes. Additional classifications include collaborative projects, such as Wikipedia, virtual gaming, including World of Warcraft, and virtual social worlds, such as Second Life. According to Perrin, the factors affecting social media use include age, gender, socioeconomic variables, race, and community variations. Noteworthy, people between 18 and 29 years are most likely to use social media than any other age group, with 90% of people in that age group reporting the use of social media. The number of people using social media above the age of 65 years has tripled from 2% in 2005 to 11% in 2010 and 35% in 2015. Women and men use social media at almost similar rates, that is, 68% and 62% respectively. People with higher educational levels and higher incomes have always been leading in social media use, but over the recent past, more than half of the people from low-income households use social media. Race does not affect social media use, especially in America. People living in urban and suburban areas are more likely to use social media at 64% and 68% respectively, compared to those in rural areas at 58%. Most networking sites operating in this era are primarily focused on friendship performance or impression management, networks and the underlying structures, online and offline connectivity, and privacy issues. Social network sites present themselves as tools used to connect with others, with the connections providing important identity signals that characterize socialization both online and offline. The extent to which people use online profiles to represent their actual self varies from one individual to the next. The need to create massive following or large networks has informed the creation of fake online profiles. Boyd and Ellison assert that profile authenticity is determined by various metrics across various platforms, with the most common metric being an actual picture of a person or various pictures. Also, friendship links is used to determine the authenticity of profiles as an aspect of self-representation. Impression management influences how people connect online, a phenomenon that inspires people to create online profiles using pictures by famous or affluent people in a particular society. The comprehension of publicly displayed connections and the friending function catalyzes social drama by providing imaginary audiences that are probably not available in real life. Information on profiles and connections on social networks are collected through automation techniques and company-formulated datasets. The examination of blogs and websites by advertisers to identify the relevant marketing metrics, such as user traffic, spilled over to social networking sites. Boyd and Ellison maintain that profile fields are less likely to falsify, and hence an additional measure of authenticity because they are associated with greater friendship links. The participation in social networks is categorized into linkers who participate in network evolution, inviters, and passive members. Some of the network-related additions in social network sites include the contribution of language in friendship topology, motivations behind joining communities, friendship classification, and the importance of geography in friending. Information gathered from these additions is used to optimize user experience by suggesting other networks and communities that could be of interest to specific users. Social network sites complement existing social relations, although the relevant research could be conflicting. For instance, Boyd and Ellison argue that Facebook is largely used to solidify offline relationships as opposed to meeting new people. The offline relationships are not necessarily solid, but there is some component of an offline relationship before connecting online. This phenomenon is based on the fact that Facebook users search for people they know offline more than they browse for new people. The use of social sites to solidify existing relationships is also common in Korea-based Seaworld and MySpace, where people socialize with friends, especially those they cannot meet in one-on-one situations, thereby supporting sociability. Mukherjee also notes that social media is commonly used in predicting the outcomes of real-world situations. Privacy concerns, especially for younger and older users, in social network sites has been a great source of debate over the recent past. The potential threats associated with online profiles include the reconstruction of demographics and impersonation. The disconnect between privacy protection and specific user behaviors is particularly common among teenagers or older users who are not aware how public social media actually is. Trust and usage objectives influence what social site users are willing to share, with this willingness differing from one site to the next depending on the openness of the site developers, especially concerning privacy policies. Social media users are also more willing to share unlisted information with people whom they share a network, which enable phishing online. Boyd and Ellison document one study by Pew Research which uncovered that 55% of teens on social networks have created profiles, with 65% having restricted the viewership of these profiles and 46% including falsified information. Privacy affects how users manage impressions and socialize with others offline. The introduction of news feeds on sites such as Facebook disrupted the control over personal information despite the fact that relevant information was already accessible publicly. Existing privacy options do not provide users with the necessary flexibility required in handling differences in privacy opinions. Legal requirements of privacy across various jurisdictions around the world do not meet the objectives of social sites. While most countries require users to have complete control over their data, social sites use generated data in optimizing user experiences on their sites. For instance, social sites utilize user information for personalized ads and suggesting the network's users should join based on their interests. Some of those raising privacy concerns argue that social sites do not require users' consent before sharing their information with third parties, such as advertisers and law enforcement in the case of investigations. Tapriel and Conwar offer some interesting projections of the future of social media based on documented statistics revolving around increased mobile phone use, internet access, subscription to services by internet service providers, communication through messaging, use of wireless devices, spending on advertisement, social media use, and use of e-commerce. The predictions include the wider spread use of smartphones, which is already the case at the time of publishing this video, increased text messaging, access to mobile phone will raise the exposure to social network sites, exponential growth of social gaming, location-based marketing, especially through radio frequency identification and mobile phone tracking, increased mobile spending, a rise in video marketing, and a trend in mobile money transfer.